My name is Mike. I'm a 26-year-old white guy living in a small town. I had a perfectly good relationship with Emily for 5 years. She's 23, beautiful, intelligent, and bubbly. I knew I was meant to be with him from the first day we'd met. We got along immediately, and soon we were establishing a home together. Not just dating anymore, it was a marriage. We shared our routines, our dreams, our visions of old age. Well, at least that's what I thought. We had a house that we turned into home. Everything about it contained our little identity, from pictures on the walls to antique furniture we joked we would one day repurpose. We also had 2 dogs, Max and Daisy, whom we treated as members of the family. They were our first babies, before we could make an actual one. And then, of course, when Emily became pregnant, we squealed. Last year, after months of desperation, we had our baby boy. I remember putting him in my arms for the first time and thinking, this is it. This is my family. My life is perfect. We were no strangers to rocky waters, but Emily never let me question her loyalty or love. Sure, we argued sometimes. Who does not? But in the end, we always said enough and vowed to continue through whatever obstacle we were confronted with. That was the kind of connection we shared, or so I believed. This all began to change earlier this year. There was a huge argument between us, one of those fights you never do mean, it really went. I'm not even sure what initiated it, but I'm sure it wounded us both. After letting each other get off the hook, we got to talk. It was an agreement that we would improve, to be more open, and not do it again. I took that promise seriously. I thought she did too. For a while, we seemed on the right track. Emily looked happy, at least as she seemed to look. We were still raising our son together, laughing at his pathetic little achievements and planning for the future. There was though something else, and I pushed it aside. I just wanted so badly to think everything was okay, so I told myself it was. I reassured myself that Emily was just using her phone more, that she was texting friends or family, because she just liked catching up with people, and I understood that. I'd never looked at her phone. This was not the kind of connection we had, or so I thought. A week ago, Emily suddenly blew it to me. After dinner, we were sitting in the living room, with some show on the TV that neither of us wanted to be watching. She dropped her phone and said in a wry voice, "I've been texting this dude named Kevin." I looked at her, not sure if she was speaking. My first reaction was disbelief. "What message a man?" she asked. I said, trying to remain soft-spoken. But deep down, I was already going in a spiral. She nodded her head as if that wasn't a big deal, and they had been chatting for a few minutes. Her dismissal of it sent chills through my spine. I asked her why she told me, and she responded that she wanted to be transparent. Honest? After how long ago? The next night, we went into a heated argument. She tried to make it seem like texting, that it was pointless. But my faith in her was already beginning to collapse. We went to bed raged, as we never wanted to. I spent the entire night up there, looking at the ceiling and replaying the conversation in my mind. Something about it felt wrong. The next morning, I felt certain it was not all there was to it. I'd never checked her phone, I'd never had to. But as she prepared in the bathroom, I dragged her phone off the nightstand. My hands trembled as I unlocked it, half hoping I was wrong. What I found shattered me. There were hundreds of messages, chats with 5 different men. 5. It was not just Kevin. And these were not unintended remarks. They were flirtatious, romantic, and sometimes even profane. The gut started churning as I scrolled through months of emails. Some of them even mentioned getting together, and I knew from the context that some of those get-togethers had indeed taken place. The timestamps were worse. These talks extended as far back as January. 8 full months. That meant she was texting other guys months before we went on our epic battle earlier this year. But she was doing all this behind my back as I sat there, believing that we were sorting our issues out. When I confronted her, she had an explanation. What she did thereafter was irrelevant. She said we had split up in April. But that was a lie. We had never broken up. We disagreed, sure, but we stayed together. It's still us in the same home, sharing the same bed, taking care of our child together, or so I thought. If we'd split up in April, how about January? February? March? How did she explain that? She didn't have an answer, and it didn't make sense. But then she laid the blame on me for making her feel unloved and unvalued. I tried to listen to get the picture, but all I heard was the sound of my confidence being destroyed. And then came the final straw. She was gone. She was with this rich man she'd been texting for less than a month. Emily was already chatting about marrying him, about how he was the man for her. And that's what she was telling me. It was not something I could understand. How could she do this so easily? How could she lose 5 years, our home, our family like trash? So I'm left to pick up the pieces. I'm trying to fight back for my son who has no idea. He just knows that Mama and Papa are not the same. As for me, I have no idea where to go. I had given Emily everything I had, my heart, my trust, my life, and it still wasn't enough. I often wish that I hadn't. Did I miss a chance to save us? A chance to save us before it was too late? Or was this just her whole existence, and I didn't even see? I don't know if I'll ever have the answers, but there's one thing for sure, my life is gone. It's all I can do now, figure out how to start again.